If we are to pick one activity that is so widely spread, while at the same time endangers the majority of average individuals, what would it be? Is it drinking alcohol, using drugs, or maybe overeating junk food? Yes, those habits undoubtedly harm both our physical and mental health, but is there a more subtle, not so evident danger lurking in a seemingly normal routine? There definitely is, and although it affects mental well-being first and foremost, its long-term impact on the body might turn out to be even more destructive than that of alcohol or sugar, perhaps even more comparable to some hard drugs. The most dangerous habit of the 21st century is the excessive content consumption, and here is why. For the most part, the source of hazard is any digital content and uncontrolled screen time. Yet any non-systematic consumption of information is capable of eroding several critical functions of our conscience. As for screen time, numerous studies and scientific evidence show that it increases the risk of depression, anxiety disorder, and emotional instability. For example, this research found that youth who spent the most time on digital technology exhibited higher levels of internalizing problems, including depression and anxiety, even 2 years later. This association was mediated by specific changes in brain development, suggesting a lasting impact on mental health. Additionally, research has shown that excessive screen time can lead to sleep problems, increased stress hormone levels, and reinforcement of negative thoughts and feelings. Instead of facilitating social interactions, online interactions often act as a poor substitute for more qualitative offline connections. During the pandemic, there was an increase in loneliness and feelings of isolation, as well as decreased level of happiness. Studies have shown that high social media use predicts more depressive symptoms, panic disorder symptoms, and family conflict, along with lower levels of family and friend support. A special harm comes from news consumption, doom scrolling, as it can make us anxious, aggressive, and potentially reinforce biases. Research has shown that doom scrolling can trigger and worsen anxiety, stress, depression, and panic. It can create a harmful cycle that keeps individuals feeling low and reinforces negative thoughts and feelings. Some studies suggested that doom scrolling evokes greater level of existential anxiety, leading to feelings of dread or panic when confronting the limitation of our existence. The Oxford Word of the Year 2024 was named brain rot. This term, which saw a 230% increase in usage from 2023 to 2024, encapsulates the perceived deterioration of mental or intellectual capabilities due to overconsumption of trivial or challenging material, particularly on social media platforms. The concept of brain rot represents the pinnacle of distress caused by screen time through exposure to ultra-low quality content that impairs the brain's normal cognitive functions. Importantly, even when we consume presumably useful content, the risk and harm remain present. Studies have demonstrated that screen time can overload the sensory system, fracture attention, and deplete mental reserves. The use of smartphones, even for work or productive tasks, inherently worsens our focus, calm, and cognitive strength. Screen time has been linked to sleep disruptions, desensitization of the brain's reward system, and increased stress reactions. Furthermore, the impact of screen time extends beyond immediate cognitive effects. The overconsumption of digital content, regardless of its perceived utility, can lead to a cascade of neurological and psychological effects that ultimately contribute to what we now term as brain rot. But there are 3 fundamental solutions we can put into practice. First is observation. Begin to observe your overall well-being fluctuation in connection to digital diving. You can simply journal it or meditate on the perceived changes in your mood, motivation, discipline, and will. Then evaluate whether you truly need all that content, information, or notifications, and whether it is truly the best and most satisfying course according to your values and goals. Observe what will change in these matters should you abstain from screen time for at least 30 minutes of silence. The second is detox and mental hygiene. Periodic digital detox is unsubstitutable for your mental hygiene. The reason content consumption is so addictive is because it is dopaminergic. It exploits our constant craving for novelty, accompanied by the release of dopamine, the hormone of pleasurable anticipation. But dopamine is not the only pleasant hormone in our brain. There is endorphin, released with exercise and vigorous states, oxytocin, released when socializing and bonding with other human beings, serotonin, the hormone of pleasant calm and confidence when doing something meaningful but not overtly stimulating. Detox facilitates the treatment of neurological imbalance between these hormones, bringing back dopamine sensitivity and making room for the others. Less stimulating, offline-only activities will help to rejuvenate, such as socializing, reading, writing, exercising, or any other hobby or outdoor activity. The third solution is content filtration. Well, by no means should you not take advantage of the vast availability of information in our age, but in order to fortify your psyche against its overwhelming and harmful casualties, filtration of the time, quality, and quantity of the content you consume will prove invaluable. Think of what kind of information you truly need, the one that corresponds to your life's mission and overall priorities, the one you genuinely care about. Then reflect on how often you actually need it. After that, create a system of limited yet sufficient intake of such information. Avoid algorithmic recommendation at all costs. They are too manipulative and stimulating. Their design aims at the opposite of our good motive, to hook your attention regardless of the usefulness of the content. Pick the most essential and trusted sources you can rely on for quality and relevance, except for those occasions when you are doing research. Then, set a specific time when you sit and devote your focus to the thoughtful processing of the content you choose. Always take time to think through what you are reading, taking notes if necessary. Also, reading is preferable over other formats, and offline reading, like books and newspapers, is preferable over online. Now imagine that the sale of such digital drug is perfectly legal, and all major internet corporations are in this business purely for profit. Social media platforms make money off our attention. The more people stay within the system, the higher the price of ads, the greater the revenue. In this equation, we are not the clients, we are the product. Social networks do everything in their power to keep us consuming content for as long as possible. Flashy interfaces, bright buttons, endless notifications, likes, recommendation algorithms, and infinite scrolling. Every element is designed to trap us inside. Some of the richest and smartest minds of the planet work tirelessly to make us more addicted, more dependent, and consumed. Attention is life's most precious currency. To spend it carelessly is to surrender control over your mind, your time, and ultimately your fate. Because distractions are infinite, the ability to focus in our world means power. So choose wisely.